What do you dislike about large classes?
There's no personal teacher-student relationship there.
You're lost in the crowd.
All the people. You're just another face or a number, I guess.
Or like if it's a smaller class, the teacher knows my face.
Most of the time, your professor sees you as just another student.
They're too large, you don't really get the individual attention that you need.
I don't really get enough attention from the teacher.
It's hard to get the teacher's attention.
Not enough one-on-one.
Like there's not really enough time for one-on-ones.
The lack of one-on-one attention with students.
You don't necessarily have that one-on-one interaction unless you go to the professor and ask them yourself if you have questions or anything.
And the teacher already has so much to do that it's really hard to ask them to help.
I wanted to ask teachers questions, but then they all seem frustrated, so you don't want to bother them.
You ask them and they get mad.
They're kind of preoccupied with other students.
You don't really have a chance to ask individual questions to the teacher if you're having a problem.
It's harder to get a hold of the teacher and stuff because there's so many students in the class.
So you can't always get a hold of them.
And harder to get in touch with the teacher because there's so many people.
Professors tend to not email you back, so that's a big problem.
Teachers never help you with anything. I don't know, man. That's basically what they don't help.
Just communication between instructors can sometimes be an issue just because they have so many students that they have to deal with.
And I guess that kind of makes sense because there's so many people in the class. But they rarely try to reach out to students who really, really need help within the class.
And if the teacher has office hours, the line for the office hours will be long.
And then when you go to office hours and there's like 300 students, you know, they're always busy and there's never time just because there's so many students.
So if I have questions, it's really hard to get to their office for office hours sometimes, and so that can be a problem.
Some teachers can't control them at all. They don't know what to do with them. People basically teach the class other than the teacher.
They get noisy fast.
No, I find it really distracting with the large class. People talk a lot. I talk a lot in those large classes. You get away with a lot of stuff. So
It's hard to pinpoint exactly who is making noise and who is talking. So when you go to class, everybody doesn't really necessarily want to be there. They're just there to get the notes, and they'll write down the notes and not really care about everybody else actually trying to learn the material.
If the teacher doesn't have the commanding presence to immediately take their attention, you lose, several minutes per class just with that.
how some teachers don't have PowerPoints or, they just put random words on the board.
Just strictly reads off of the PowerPoint and doesn't really teach. It's just more of a straight lecture. You don't generally learn as much. You might as well not even go to class.
I don't like large classes.